Hello y'all on YouTube, this is Rob with Rob's Nerdy Knives. Today we have the We Euquivik. We're going to do a little detent tuning, and we're also going to put some skiff washers in there. It's a brand new knife that I just came in. This was the Blade Show West, I think, import and production knife of the year, and I know why. It's fantastic, but I think it can be even better. So let's go ahead and dig right into it. I will speed up this as I go through some of this, just so you know. Now I think most everything is a T8, and I'm going to go ahead and just check that real quick. T8, 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 yeah, so we're good to go. All right, so let's go ahead and clean this up a little bit here. We'll figure out what those washers are in here in just a second. Now that detent bar is way up there, so we're going to be taking that down. Now I believe that's a T6. Yeah. I'm going to get my tweezers. I'll be right back. So I knew this was in there pretty good, and I had to use a screw to leverage it out. And we'll clean this up. A lot of oil in there. Okay, so we are pretty high up there, as you can see. I'm going to bring that back a little bit. So it's a captive pivot. I don't know if you can see that right there. There's a little bump there. If you look at the back of this, there's a little notch right in there. Keeps it from spinning. Now it feels like a pretty heavy piece of carbon fiber, but as you can see, it's an inlay, and that's what's the cutout and relieves quite a bit of weight, which is pretty nice. No need to take the standoffs off. All right, so now I'm going to put this piece back on. So that's significantly in, because it was really out quite a bit. We can always come back and adjust it more. It's better to adjust a little bit now than too much. You'll fatigue the metal if you do that. So just a little bit at a time. You can always come back to it, as long as you're careful and slow and methodical. And after a while, you'll get a feel for it. Just take a little bit of practice. If you're not, if it makes you nervous working on a little more expensive knives, do this on some cheaper knives first. Get comfortable with it. So I just like to clean the washers off, even though I'm not going to use these again. I like to see how dirty they were. These don't appear to be too dirty. It looks like they were, sometimes you can get them out of manufacturing, they can be really filthy. There can be a lot of dust from manufacturing on there. They didn't really do a really good cleanup job. So now we're going to get our little cheat sheet to figure out what size washers we need. So first we're going to figure out the pivot, which I bet it's going to be a 3/16. Oh, I'm wrong. Okay, so it's a 5mm. Let's see, and I assume they're 1/16. Yeah, 1/16, 5mm, 1/16. there we go. 5mm 1/16. Yep, fit on there. Now notice these have 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 ball bearings, and these will have 11. So you already have some more room there. Sometimes I always wonder if if I had some of the other 5mm, if they could fit in there as well, but I don't have any of those here. At some point I need to order some more. All right, so start off by this going back in here with the pivot. It's always nice and flush. And then no matter how careful I am, I seem to drop something. I need a bib, like a tool bib. Might be a neat idea to invent, right? Sometimes it's not necessary, but I like to use the high polish just to make sure there's no little burr on there. It always gets it a little smoother. And then I'll wipe that off. I cleaned the inside of the O-ring in case some material got in there. Just don't want it to get dirty. Use a little bit of nano oil. This is the 10 weight. It's really worn off. It's almost empty. I'll soon use a brand new bottle that I have. Oops, don't put it on top of the screws. So I'm going to put my pivot back, my blade stop pin, and then we'll put our little lanyard pin for you, if you like a lanyard tube or lanyard to attach. Another thing I like to do, just in case, well, I guess I don't really need to do it. This is beveled out, so it's fine. I would sometimes polish this if this was flat, but it's not. So at this point, I'll put a little bit of oil. Everything's lined up. Now we'll put this on. Clean the back of this off a little bit. Oil got in there. It's a nice piece of aluminum carbon fiber. So you see how it's a little aluminum inlay and it's all the way through. It's really nice. I like that. It's pretty. Now we'll switch over back to the T8. Might help if you have a bit on there. So before I put any Loctite on, I'm just going to make sure it fits on and everything's nice and smooth and even. All right, so this was super, super tight. Trying to open it. It's a really strong detent. I mean, definitely think there's some people who would have been big fans of that. I'm not one of them. So I'm glad that it's a little more reasonable. All I can say is when your thumb starts to hurt after just a very few minor deployments, I think the detent might be just a little bit too tight. Now, for some people, they're going to love that, and that's fine. Keep your detent the way you want it. But I did not care for that. I did forget to put some detent oil on the ball bearing there, the detent ball. Typically I do that before I close the knife, but I'm so busy trying to get it on, so sorry. So what I'm doing is putting a little drop on top of the ball bearing. So I'm pushing just a little bit of pressure on the lock bar, kind of work that groove in. I mean, you already saw the groove there, but this is just kind of work that detent oil. See, a little more controlled action. Still a nice click, no detent lash. Nice reverse flick. Easy to work. I think I can do, yeah, I can do the thumb. Let me get in there. Thumb flick as well. You can actually do that. Just gotta get in there, get some pressure. Reverse works really well. See, yeah, you can use that down part here as well, really nicely. So that's cool. I like that action. Now it's nice and drop shutty, still dead center. All right, maybe a little bit of blade play. Let's see. No blade play. Okay, cool. All right, so I will at this point put some Loctite on there because it will make a bit of a difference. First of all, I can tell you, these caged ceramic ball bearings just make this knife so much better. And a little slight detent tuning, all the difference in the world. For at least for what I like, okay? You may enjoy that really strong detent, then stick with it. Don't change it. Enjoy it. But if you don't, and you like it a little bit looser like I do, and it's not much, but you can see, still get a nice strong flick. And even left-handed, I'm not normally left-handed, let me show you right hand. Absolutely can get a right flick. And I'm not even have to do the wrist flick, so you can see that? That's nice. I like that. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get a little bit of Loctite. So I just went on some of the threads, you see that? Don't need a whole lot. I like to put another little drop on there because we had some that we worked in. Just got to find the detent ball. All right, so it looks centered. All right, we're done. Sometimes it can be very frustrating when you're trying to center something, so I'll fast forward through a lot of this, at least the centering part. Basically what I was doing is, just to give you a quick summary, because all this will have been forwarded for at least for the centering, take a piece of paper, you loosen this pivot, you loosen the two body screws. This is part of the clip, it's not attached to any pivot. You stick a piece of paper in here, fold it as much as you need to get it to push the blade to the right, because the blade's going left. So then what I do is I tighten the pivot first, a little tighter than you normally would, right? Not go crazy, don't strip the screw, the head or anything like that, and don't damage the cage bearings and cause all sorts of weird stuff. Then tighten these back to normal, and you loosen that up, right? You take out your piece of paper, and then you tighten it back to normal, and it should have shifted to the right, which it has for me, but what's throwing me off is the tip. It looks like it's over to the left, but I think the tip is not. I was telling you, like, right, so you see this edge is a little bit longer than that edge. So what happens is when an edge is longer than the other, it kind of makes it look like it's one way or the other, and so that's what's throwing it off. So part of me wants to symmetrically line that very tip of the blade, not the edges that are like this. So that throws me off a little bit. So now what I need to do is I need to let the Loctite sit. I just want to make sure I didn't make it travel and loosen up. So you let it sit for 24 hours and you're done. And then the blade, the knife should be ready to go. Make sure that's in correctly. But this is definitely much better. This lock bar was way, way too tight as far as my opinion. And then the caged ceramic ball bearings will make a big difference. Oops, I'm trying not to hit it too hard because it's still locking. But you can see that it just drops nicely, okay? So that's kind of the goal, what you need to do. And I think it's going to be a very enjoyable knife. I can see why it was a Blade Show Knife of the Year and all that good stuff. Blade Show West Import and Production Knife of the Year. So very cool. If you have any questions about this detent tuning and adjusting, like centering and then putting in skiff washers, let me know in the comments down below. I do this quite regularly, and you may ask, what the heck are you doing? If you're never going to do this, don't worry about it. Skip the video. If you're just curious what the internal looks like, skip to that part. If you want to know what skiff cage ball bearings, ceramic ball bearings are, you know, that's what I put in. And you would just, you could reach out to Skiff Made Blades. They sell the cage ball bearings. As a matter of fact, if you do decide you want to put some of those, and they become, you know, little skiff washers. And matter of fact, these took the 5mm, 1/16 11 ball count, 0.2 outer inner diameter, 0.37 outer diameter, with a thickness of 0.05 inches, right? So if you decide you're going to do these, order from Skiff, use Rob's Nerdy Knives code RNK10. You get 10% off each purchase. That includes the washers, if you have the finger bit tool, if you buy the, what they call the cheat sheet, and if you buy any of the cage or phosphor bronze, thick phosphor bronze washers, you get 10% off. And let me tell you, I think it's worth it. It's a tremendous, tremendous help to do something like that. So, hey, if you found this content fun, interesting, worthwhile, entertaining, or informative, would you please consider hitting the like button down below? And if you've already hit that like button, would you please consider hitting the subscribe button? Subscribing and liking the videos really helps out the channel, allows me to produce more content, do more things. And I very much appreciate that, because ultimately it's more things for you guys. So thank you. Thank you to all you guys who watch the videos, who subscribe, who like. I really appreciate you guys. And if you haven't already, maybe hit that notification button so you can be notified of future content, like this video. And also, to my channel members, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate every one of you. You guys are amazing and awesome. I do very much want to say thank you. And if you been on the fence, maybe considering being a channel member, check out the description down below. There's a link for that. Would love to have you. There's no requirement whatsoever to be a channel member, but would love to have you. I know some of you guys would like to be and would like to support the channel, so I appreciate that very, very much. Also, every month there will be a channel member giveaway. So we just had one recently in December, and then we'll have another one in January. So I appreciate you guys if you decide you want to be channel members. So thank you to all of you. If you have any questions for the channel, do let me know. Right, I appreciate it. And also, finally, check me out over on Instagram at Robs_nerdy_knives. Again, that's on Instagram at Robs_nerdy_knives. Thanks so much for watching today. Have a great day and a great week.